Hello, BookTube.
Hi, BookTube.
You'll never guess what.
You're going to want to sit down for this, but we have more books.
Yeah, we have more books. Although, in fairness, that wasn't the point of the day.
No.
The point of the day was to go to Cape Cod, where I got to introduce my little dog and my house guest to the Atlantic Ocean proper, not a carefully domesticated bay, but the Atlantic Ocean, waves, the endless horizon, the next stop Ireland, that sort of thing. And that was wonderful. That was absolutely wonderful.
It was, yeah.
We went all the way. I always describe this to you who don't know the geography here. Massachusetts, the greatest commonwealth in the world, is a rectangle, and it has a fishhook extending out into the Atlantic Ocean. And that fishhook is Cape Cod, the legendary, storied Cape Cod. And the tip of that fishhook, the end of it, is Provincetown, which is a gay mecca. So one of us felt right at home. And there was a bookstore. What was the name of it?
It was Tim's Used Books.
Bit of a surprise. Yeah. When I looked at it, I kind of thought boutique-y, but it had serious stuff in there.
Yeah.
So we shopped while Frida ferociously growled at people. She ferociously growls at people to pet her. It's not aggression. It sounds like she wants to kill you, but it's... Anyway, we got about, this time, the seesaw has come to equilibrium. We got about the same number of books. So as a guest, you should go first.
Okay. And this is very fitting for the area. I don't have a copy of this. This is Jaws. I have read this, and I've actually read Jaws 2, since you go on about it so much, but I don't have a copy of this at home, and I saw it. It was cheap.
You gotta have that.
Yeah. And this is the one I wanted, too. Yeah, I have seen other copies of this, of course, everywhere, but not this specific mass market. So this is the one that I wanted to have.
What about my stuff? Did you just... Okay, well, my first one was... Actually...
We should look if you have, yeah.
Oh, great. Fantastic. My first one was this. This is the first volume of Virginia Woolf's literary essays. I found the hardcover. Fantastic. All right, so you can have the trade paperback if you want.
Okay, good, yeah.
This publisher went through all of her stuff, just chronologically. So these are her earliest published book reviews. This is before all of the masterpieces that went into the first Common Reader or the second Common Reader. This is just her doing my job. her reviewing whatever her publisher, whatever her editor sends her. Usually at very little word count and sometimes not signed. So, and this is exactly the way you want it to be done. Where you don't just get the pieces, you get the editors explaining the books, the circumstances, and also drawing from relevant quotes from her letters and diaries, so that you know exactly what she was thinking at the moment. Incredible. I took a gamble on this, but like you said, when we were at the shop, one of us doesn't have it, so that's good. It wasn't a waste.
This one is a little obscure, and like you were saying, there was a lot of good stuff in that shop. It was packed full of books, lots of small different rooms, and I just kept seeing stuff. I was really pleased. This is the Friedrich Bastiat collection. This is a 1,000-page little copy full of Bastiat stuff. Most people know him from his piece, The Law, but he's got lots of other good stuff. He was a French economist, and this edition is put out by the Mises Institute, which is a paleo-libertarian think tank, but whatever you think of them, their press does a really nice job, and they have all kinds. This is free online, for example. You don't actually need a copy of this, and they have really nice editions. So I was sort of surprised to see this on Cape Cod, but either way, I'm glad to have it. I haven't read Bastiat in a while, so and he's a great writer, so it'll be good to revisit.
It's a neat little paperback.
It is, yeah.
I found a second copy of this, Genji Days by Edward Seitensticker. This is a companion, all sorts of journal entries and mini thoughts and stuff that he was doing while he was producing his translation of the Tale of Genji. And I have, there he is. There he is in the back there. I have a copy of this, but I like the shape of this one better. And I also wasn't 100% sure when I found this on the shelf that I hadn't already sent away my copy. So I grabbed it, and I haven't checked yet. We just started brooming off our sand to get in the door. So I don't know. Maybe I don't have.
We haven't been here for 10 minutes. Then my next book, again, obscure. This is Progress and Poverty by Henry George. Henry George was a progressive era economist, very, very popular in his day, wrote all kinds of stuff on women's suffrage and other contemporary issues. I think he's most well known now by the few people who do for his advocating a single tax on land. And every, so many years, somebody will grab onto that and pull it back into the public discussion. So I expect that is either happening now or anytime soon. So he never really quite goes away, even though nobody reads him anymore. So.
That was in a little clearance box outside. Right?
Yeah, it was.
Walked up to this thing, and there it was, right there. I found a big Barnes & Noble Houghton Mifflin collection of Delia Owens, her 3 great books about trekking on foot in Africa, or looking at all of Africa. I did not know this volume existed. No idea that anyone ever did this. I think that Dover did The Cry of the Kalahari, or maybe The Eye of the Elephant. But here they are all in one book. Fantastic, with just a naked hardcover, no dust jacket.
That's a cool volume. My next one is Socialism and Economic and Sociological Analysis by Ludwig von Mises. This is one of my favorite books, actually. I've read this many times. I have copies of it, but I've never seen this copy before, so it looks like it's a different translation than what I'm used to. Mises was an Austrian economist. He was sort of a 19th century economist who lived and did most of his work in the 20th century, early part of the 20th century. And 2 important books he wrote were Socialism here and then another book called Liberalism. I think they're still the 2 best books that I've read on both of those subjects. And I don't know how much they're read by wider audiences. Mises has a pretty enthusiastic following, and sometimes it can be difficult to pluck and think of him away from that following, but he wrote some really great stuff, and this is a great volume. He understands socialism in all the big ways and the small ways, and what's wrong with it on different dimensions too. This is critical, I should say, but it is thorough, and it is terrific.
How amazing to find it in a little bookstore.
Again, of all places. And I mentioned this in the car, I didn't see any Mises or Hayek at all. This doesn't mean they weren't there, but I didn't see them at any of the bookshops we had been to, and then we go to this little place, Tim's, and I saw both of them. So,
okay, I found another omnibus volume. I guess this is my week for finding omnibus volumes. This is by Fall River, who I've had them for Edgar Allan Poe and H.G. Wells. This is a lovely thing of Tarzan, the first 3 novels. So this has Tarzan of the Apes, The Return of Tarzan, and The Beasts of Tarzan. It stops just before my favorite Tarzan novel, The Son of Tarzan, but still, Beasts of Tarzan is amazing. There's some wonderful bits in there. And this is just, I don't think I've ever seen this before. It was just lovely. So I grabbed it. We'll continue the theme of these big omnibus volumes.
Then mine is the opposite of the last book I held up. This is Marxist Capital. This is an old modern library edition. I don't know if I mentioned this before, but I have the 3 volumes of Capital, the Peckman Classics, but that's it. So I'll see if this has a different introduction or a different critical apparatus that'll be new to me, so it's nice to have.
Why does the cover look that way? Is it supposed to be vaguely hinting at a sickle?
I don't know. Maybe. Yeah, that's not. Oh yeah, the P on the end. Yeah. There, I see it. It's more here than on the cover. Yeah, I bet that is what they were trying to do. Yeah, good catch. That's interesting. I haven't read Capital straight through in a long time. I tend to go to sections now.
Would would newer translations of him just necessarily be better?
No, I wouldn't think so.
But you said you have the multi-volume Penguin, Penguin Classic. How is that for a read?
Good. The best part about that edition is the introduction. It's got a long, generous, really interesting introduction.
Mm-hmm. Well, my next one was the find of the day. No doubt about it. This is this new Ace edition of Dune with the sprayed edges there and the original artwork. I was very, very tempted. My finger was on the button, so to speak, to buy the box set of these. They did Dune, Dune Messiah, and Children of Dune with these new covers. The cover for Dune Messiah is wonderful. But if this is starting to show up out in the wild, then they will be too. So now I have hope. I don't actually know if this is illustrated. No illustrations except the end papers. And since everyone's talking about Dune, The inside of the dust jacket is also illustrated. Isn't that nice? Look at that.
Capital didn't have that.
That's amazing. No, Mark doesn't have that. Oh, and you've got the embossed cover. Fear is the mind killer. Very nice. Very nice. Okay, those are extra features I didn't know, but I knew that I wanted this. It's like you. I had no idea I was going to find these things at a little used bookstore on Prophetstown. But there you go. That's all of mine.
And then I have one last volume. This
That's
is
a perfect
Plato.
edition.
Yeah, this is Plato, the Collected Dialogues, and this is, I don't know who that marking is. Oh, this is Princeton, I guess. I have Plato at home in many different volumes spread around, so to have a lot of them just in one place is going to be nice. Maybe I could get rid of those. Plato, I think, is a snooze, but I go back and read him sometimes, and sometimes you have to reference him. So
Did Edith Hamilton do the editing there? Yes.
Oh, yeah. And Huntington Cairns, I don't know who that is, but Edith Hamilton, yeah, edited. So, just a nice volume to have. Again, I don't know what this was doing in P-Town, but it was.
So there you go.
There you go.
We
More
went to a
books.
used bookstore and we went to the ocean.
Mhm.
My Frida got to see the ocean. You got to see the ocean. It was a little bit chilly. Beach was almost completely empty. Water completely empty. It was wonderful.
Yeah,
Absolutely wonderful.
For March, it was.
It's maybe a bit of a lot of driving. I think Frida will probably fall asleep pretty early tonight and stay that way for a good long time. But I think we have one more book haul
I think we do.
during your visit tomorrow. And then not. So I might get to 150 books. But anyway, we're going to wrap this up for now. You've got to be saturated with book content by now. You've just got to be. But we'll see you tomorrow.
We'll see you. Thanks, BookTube.
Thank you, BookTube.